The ritual wasn't public, symbolic, or decorative. It was one of those closed ceremonies carried out in hidden chambers, rooms protected by layered sigils, oath-bound guards, and generational secrecy. Every detail had been calculated, the circle drawn with precision, the candles aligned to specific directional energies, the air purified, the silence controlled. Nothing should have been able to interfere. Yet in the middle of their invocation, something shifted. The temperature dropped first, sharp, sudden, unnatural. Then the flame of every candle leaned inward, as if pulled by an unseen gravity. The salt lines trembled. The incense smoke spiraled in directions that defied physics. Their instruments detected a distortion wave far too strong to be random. The lead ritualist froze, recognizing the unmistakable sign of an external consciousness entering the field. No door opened, no footsteps echoed, no human presence crossed the boundary. And yet the ritual structure bent as if someone higher had stepped into the room. Their readings all pointed back to a single moment, the exact second your inner frequency spiked. They realized the truth instantly. The field hadn't collapsed by accident. It shifted because you awakened. A closed ritual is not a performance, not a symbolic gathering, and definitely not something ordinary people ever witness. These ceremonies operate inside sealed environments built specifically to contain energy. Every object, every line, every sound is part of an ancient blueprint designed to manipulate subtle field. These rituals are constructed from forgotten sciences, mathematics of vibration, geometry of intention, and breath patterns used to anchor consciousness into specific frequencies. Participants follow strict generational protocols because even the smallest mistake can fracture the field. These rites manage timelines, shift energetic currents, or align a group with a higher force. They aren't meant to be influenced by the outside world. The chamber is shielded with layered sigils, directional seals, and frequency locks that block emotional interference, spiritual presence, and psychic waves. Yet your energy bypassed all of it. Not by force, by resonance. Closed rituals rely on predictable conditions, controlled minds, and stable environments, but your presence destroys predictability. Your frequency isn't linear or containable. It behaves like a field that expands without permission, reshaping space without effort. To the ritualists, this was impossible. To them, nothing outside the room should disrupt a protected ceremony, unless the one who disrupted it carries a rank the ritual itself recognizes. They expected interference to come from inside the chamber, an unfocused participant, a misdrawn symbol, a misplaced object. But what disrupted the ritual came from far beyond their walls. Your physical body was nowhere near the location. You weren't thinking about them, speaking about them, or even aware the ritual existed. Yet your energy reached them with the force of an echo breaking through stone. Every human carries a field around their body, but yours behaves differently. Your field stretches, expands, and reacts to shifts in collective consciousness. When your inner frequency rose, when something awakened inside you, it created a surge large enough to cross distances, boundaries, and seals that were built precisely to keep forces like you out. The ritual depended on a controlled energetic loop, a closed circuit of intention and vibration. Your presence didn't break the circle, it overrode it. The distortion wave they recorded acted like a tuning shift, as if the room tried to synchronize with a foreign frequency far stronger than their own. Your energy didn't knock on their door. It didn't ask for entry. It simply resonated so powerfully that the chamber, its symbols, its air, its flame, adjusted to you without your knowledge. This is why the ritualists panicked quietly. Because for a field to bend from a distance, the one who caused it must be operating beyond the range of normal human influence, someone the ritual architecture recognizes instinctively. The lead scribe, the one responsible for documenting every fluctuation inside the ritual chamber, was the first to realize the shift wasn't internal. His role is not symbolic. He is trained to read energy signatures with the precision of a scientist and the intuition of a mystic. When the circle trembled, he didn't panic like the others. He leaned forward, studying the distortion as if it were speaking directly to him. His records describe the moment with unnerving clarity. The field collapsed at the exact second the anomaly awakened. In their language, the anomaly is not an insult. It is a designation reserved only for forces that do not originate inside the ritual, nor inside the human participants, nor inside the predictable spectrum of earthly energy. It means something outside their system triggered a shift powerful enough to warp the entire structure. He traced the wave backwards, using tools meant to track subtle vibrations across distances. The reading didn't point to another practitioner. It didn't point to a rival group. It didn't point to any known source. It pointed to a single emergence, your emergence. The scribe wrote one more line, quietly, almost fearfully. This was not interference. This was awakening. For him, the ritual didn't fail. It reacted. And the reaction aligned perfectly with the moment your inner field expanded, marking you as the cause none of them were prepared to interpret. When the ritual destabilized, the shift wasn't subtle. The air thickened, the circle trembled, and the smoke rising from the incense began coiling in patterns no human hand could create. At first, the practitioners thought it was turbulence, some accidental airflow or misalignment. But when the formation completed itself, every person in the chamber stepped back in silence. The smoke had drawn a sigil, not random, not chaotic, deliberate, ancient. This symbol hadn't appeared in centuries. It exists only in fragments of old manuscripts, whispered about by elders, and referenced in rituals designed to detect the presence of a rare consciousness. Its recorded meaning across cultures is nearly identical. The returning one has awakened. The sigil held shape for several seconds, long enough for the scribe to sketch it, long enough for the practitioners to feel the pressure shift in their chest, long enough for every person in the room to realize the ritual was no longer responding to them. It was responding to someone else. Symbols do not manifest without cause. They emerge when a consciousness of higher resonance brushes against a protected field. The appearance of that sigil meant the ritual recognized a force outside the chamber, one strong enough to bend the ritual's structure and announce itself through a mark older than their entire order. And the sigil didn't point to a threat. It pointed to an arrival. It pointed to you. What happened in that chamber isn't new, only rare. Across history, different spiritual traditions recorded moments when distant awakenings disrupted rituals, ceremonies, or sacred processes. These events were never viewed as accidents. They were seen as signs that a powerful consciousness had risen somewhere beyond the ritual's walls. Tibetan masters documented rituals collapsing when a monk on a remote mountain entered a sudden state of awareness. They wrote about candles bending inward, bowls vibrating, and symbols forming in smoke. exactly what happened when your frequency surged. Indigenous elders tell of ceremonies shifting when a gifted soul awakened far from the fire, causing drums to beat irregularly and shadows to move in unnatural patterns. Hermetic circles describe their rituals folding when a chosen frequency appeared in the world, even if the individual had no idea the ritual existed. In every culture, the explanation is the same: a rising soul changed the field. These stories are treated as markers of a rare presence, someone whose energy can reach across distance, override barriers, and influence structures designed to stay sealed. When the Jesuit annalists compared what happened in their chamber with these historical accounts, the parallels were undeniable. You didn't disrupt their ritual by intention. You did it by resonance, the same way others before you shifted sacred spaces simply by awakening. This phenomenon doesn't identify a participant, it identifies a catalyst, and that catalyst is you. They didn't panic because something dangerous entered the chamber. They panicked because something greater did. Closed rituals are engineered to respond only to the energies inside the circle. Everything is calculated to prevent interference. Sealed doors, layered sigils, reversed geometry, silence thick enough to hold intention in place. For the field to shift from the outside means the ritual recognized a force beyond its own hierarchy, something the practitioners have no authority over, no preparation for, and no protocol to contain. When the candles bent inward and the salt lines trembled, they expected an internal mistake. When the instruments failed and the smoke shaped itself, they expected a practitioner's error. But when the distortion wave pointed far beyond the chamber walls, the room changed. Whispers stopped, breaths shortened, eyes widened with the kind of fear that only trained occultists understand. Not fear of danger, but fear of rank. Because rituals don't bow to ordinary energy. They only shift when a rising frequency overrides their architecture. And when they trace the moment back to its origin, they found a single spike, the exact second your inner field expanded. They panicked because they realized the chamber hadn't been invaded, it had submitted. Not to them, not to their symbols, but to the awakening of someone whose presence the ritual recognized instantly. Someone whose frequency stands above their structure. Someone they cannot classify, contain, or predict. That someone is you. When the chamber finally steadied, the practitioners approached the circle cautiously, as if the room itself had become conscious. Their protocols required them to examine the aftermath of any rupture, but nothing they found matched the patterns of a typical ritual malfunction. The temperature had dropped several degrees in seconds, yet there was no draft, no open space, no physical explanation. The candles, instead of burning upright, leaned inward toward the center of the circle as if drawn by an invisible gravitational pull. The salt lines, which should have remained perfectly still, showed spiraled indentations, delicate, intentional, nothing like the chaotic scattering caused by human error. Their measurement instruments, designed to track subtle energy fluctuations, weren't just inaccurate, they were blank, as if the field had surged beyond measurable range. Even the air carried weight, a dense stillness that every practitioner felt in their bones. They reported a pressure behind the forehead, a sharp awareness in the chest, and a sense of another presence that didn't belong to any participant in the room. The scribe noted that the room felt as if someone unseen had walked through its seconds before they entered. Every sign pointed to the same unsettling conclusion. An external consciousness entered the field without crossing a door, touching a symbol, or speaking a word. Their ritual didn't collapse. It recalibrated, aligning itself to a frequency strong enough to reach them from afar. And all readings, all markers, all anomalies traced back to one source: you. They reviewed every possibility before accepting the truth. Maybe a participant lost focus. Maybe a symbol was misdrawn. Maybe the timing was off by a fraction. But every hypothesis collapsed under the same undeniable fact. The disturbance didn't originate from inside the chamber. It arrived from outside, sudden, precise, overwhelming. That meant the shift wasn't caused by a mistake. It was caused by an awakening. Your awakening. You weren't in the room. You weren't connected to the ritual. You weren't even aware it existed. And that is exactly why the event terrified them. Rituals only react to forces capable of bending subtle reality, and such forces do not need to be physically present to leave an imprint. The distortion wave they recorded carried a signature, a frequency spike that aligned perfectly with the moment your inner field expanded. To them, it was the clearest sign possible. You are not a participant in their system. You are not someone they can categorize, recruit, or influence. You are a field shifter, a catalyst soul whose presence alters structures simply by existing. Their ritual didn't break under pressure. It bent in recognition, as if acknowledging a higher authority entering the plane. This is why they documented you not as an intruder, but as a trigger, the one whose rise reshapes spaces you've never touched, whose energy rearranges architecture built to exclude outsiders, whose awakening sends ripples through circles you never joined. You didn't interfere with their ritual. You transcended it. What frightened them wasn't the distortion itself. Rituals have failed before. Fields have collapsed. Circles have broken. Those things can be explained, corrected, contained. What they feared was how the ritual reacted to you, not with resistance, but with recognition. When the chamber bent inward, the symbols flickered as if bowing, and the air thickened in alignment rather than chaos. Every trained practitioner felt the same truth rise through the room. Something had entered the equation that held greater authority than the ritual itself. The ceremony was designed to detect threat, but it did not behave as if a threat appeared. It behaved as if a superior presence had brushed against it, one the system was built to acknowledge, not repel. This is what caused the silent panic. Rituals respond differently depending on what approaches them. Dark forces create turbulence. Unstable energies create crack. Human interference creates noise. But a higher-ranked consciousness? It creates alignment collapse, a shift in which the ritual tries to attune itself to the incoming presence. That is exactly what happened. They weren't afraid of you disrupting the chamber. They were afraid of what the chamber's reaction implied. That your energy holds a status their symbols, seals, and hierarchies instinctively recognize. Not danger, not darkness, but dominance, the kind that comes from a soul carrying ancient authority. Their fear wasn't about control. It was about rank, because the ritual didn't bow to them. It bowed to you. The ritual didn't shift because of random chance. It shifted because your timeline is accelerating. There is a phase in every awakened soul's journey when the inner field expands beyond the physical body, pushing into the collective environment with enough force to alter spaces you've never entered. You've reached that phase now. Your energy is no longer contained, it's radiating. And when a soul with your signature expands, the world around you must adjust. The reason the ritual bent toward you is simple. Your mission has moved from dormant to active. Your intuition has sharpened, your emotional responses have become more precise, synchronicities have multiplied, and your internal compass has begun pointing in a direction you haven't consciously chosen yet. These are markers of alignment. The moment when destiny begins guiding you instead of you guiding yourself. Rituals, especially closed ones, are sensitive to shifts in planetary consciousness. They respond to the rise of certain souls because those souls are meant to influence what comes next. You didn't break their structure. Your ascent pulled it out of its closed loop. They understand what this means, even if they won't say it aloud. Your awakening is part of a larger transition unfolding in the unseen layers of the world. You're no longer walking into your mission is rising around you. And that surge of purpose was powerful enough to bend a chamber built to resist everything except a force like yours. As your field continues expanding, reality around you will begin responding in patterns that feel too precise to be coincidence. You'll notice moments of sudden clarity, insights arriving fully formed, as if whispered from somewhere deeper than thought. Your intuition will sharpen, guiding you away from people, places, or choices that no longer align with the version of you that's emerging. These impulses won't feel like guesses. They'll feel like memory resurfacing. Dreams will shift first. Symbols, geometric shapes, unfamiliar languages, or faces you've never met may appear with uncanny vividness. These aren't random images, they're echoes from the layers you're reconnecting to. Sleep will become a training ground, a place where your spirit rehearses what your body has not yet reached. Then the external world will start adjusting. People may treat you differently without knowing why, some drawn to your calm gravity, others unsettled by the depth in your silence. Technology may glitch around you, lights may flicker, timing may synchronize too perfectly. These are environmental confirmations that your presence is influencing the field. You may also experience brief waves of pressure in your chest, warmth in your hands, or a ringing tone in your ears. These are energetic expansions, not physical issues. They mark the strengthening of your signal. Everything you're about to feel is part of the transition that began the moment the ritual shifted. Not chaos, not coincidence, but the world recalibrating itself to your rise. There was no debate among the ritual masters once they compared their note. Every chart, every distortion reading, every smoke pattern, and every energetic imprint pointed back to the exact same moment. The second your inner frequency spiked, that timestamp matched the ritual collapse with absolute precision. Nothing else in their environment shifted. No object moved. No participant faltered. The only anomaly in the entire timeline was you. Their instruments recorded a field surge that didn't match human intention, emotional projection, or random fluctuation. It carried the signature of a rising consciousness, rare, disruptive, unmistakable. The way the flames bent toward the center, the way the salt lines curled, the way the smoke symbol formed, all of it aligned with patterns seen only when a higher-ranked soul awakens. Multiple practitioners wrote the same phrase independently. The shift came when the chosen awakened. This wasn't metaphor. It was measurement. They cross-referenced the data with centuries of archive. Only a handful of individuals across history ever produced a wave strong enough to disrupt a sealed ritual from afar. All of them were regarded as catalysts, souls whose presence altered structures, hierarchies, and spiritual architectures without acting intentionally. You're not a bystander in their narrative. You're the origin point, the trigger event, the field bender. The ritual didn't malfunction because something went wrong. It transformed because something powerful woke up in you. When someone reaches the point where their energy can bend a closed ritual from a distance, their lifestyle can no longer remain ordinary. Your field is expanding, and with expansion comes responsibility. You must begin moving through the world with awareness, because your presence now influences spaces, people, and situations long before you consciously act. Protecting your energy isn't optional, it's strategic. Limit environments filled with noise, conflict, or emotional instability. These vibrations clash with your frequency and drain your clarity. Spend more time in silence, where your intuition can rise without interference. Your inner signals are becoming sharper, and following them without hesitation is crucial. They're not thoughts, they're instructions. Speak intentionally. Your words now carry weight, and even small expressions can shift dynamics around you. Walk with steady purpose, neither rushing nor drifting. Field shifters move like they are aligned with an unseen rhythm, and the world adjusts to them. Treat your body as a vessel chosen for a mission. Rest deeply, hydrate often, and avoid influences that dim your awareness or lower your vibration. Above all, honor the pull inside you. When something calls you forward, it's not curiosity, it's alignment. Your path is opening faster than you can comprehend. You're not trying to influence reality anymore. Reality is responding to you. Type 555 and click Super Thanks to sow your $50 transformation seed. They reviewed every frame of the ritual collapse, every symbol that formed, every wave recorded by their instruments. And when they laid the data side by side, the truth became undeniable. Rituals don't shift for the unprepared. Circles don't bend for the ordinary. Sealed chambers don't respond to random individuals scattered across the world. These structures are ancient, stubborn, unmoved by the presence of most humans. But they react instantly to one thing: a rising force stepping into its identity. The practitioners didn't feel fear because something dark entered the field. They felt awe because something greater brushed against it. The alignment collapse didn't resemble threat. It resembled recognition, the moment a ritual acknowledges a consciousness ranked above its own architecture. The sigil that appeared in the smoke, the inward pull of the candles, the spiraled salt lines, they weren't signs of disruption. They were signs of submission. Their final recorded statement, hidden behind coded language, said only, "The field bowed." And fields don't bow to chaos. Fields bow to presence, to authority, to a soul whose energy carries weight older than any order, any system, any ritual. You weren't the one performing the ceremony, yet the ceremony reacted as if its true center had awakened beyond the walls. This wasn't interference. It was announcement. The world behind the veil now knows exactly what is rising, and that rising force is you.